This is the Peace, Power, and Purpose podcast, where we spread awareness for men's mental health and spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and Spotify. New episodes drop weekly. This is the Peace, Power, and Purpose podcast, and I'm your host, Steve. Tonight, we're going to talk about struggle, identity, and leadership. My guest tonight spent 22 years in the Air Force and 9 of those in special operations. We're also going to cover his journey to the Lord Jesus Christ, and we're going to talk about his book that he wrote called My Life Soundtrack, Memoirs of a Soul Searching for Peace. This is going to be a heavy episode, so go ahead and sit tight. While you're watching, smash that bell, subscribe to the channel. I drop new episodes every Wednesday and every Thursday. Without further ado, PJ Wright.
Hey, Steve. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, man. What's happening, brother? It's good to finally sit down and talk with you.
Yeah, for sure. Got linked up through Mike Morgan, I believe. Yeah, I did that. I did his show, so I'm kind of, branching out, doing things. Want to tell my story. Want to help some other dudes out there, man.
Yeah, Mike's an awesome guy, man. He's awesome. I love that dude.
For sure.
So shout out to Mike Morgan, the resilient warrior. Awesome individual.
Yeah.
Well, PJ, I like to start every episode in a similar fashion. Let's start from the beginning, man. Where'd you grow up, and can you give us kind of a snapshot of what childhood was like?
Yeah, sure can. So I was born actually in Portland, Oregon, back in '65. I know I'm an old fucker, right? Yeah. And we will use a lot of humor in this. Okay, we're traveling down some tough stuff, man.
That's good with me, dude.
Keep it real, right?
Let's keep it real.
My mom, unwed. I was basically a one-night stand type of thing. When I was 5, she married a professor of physics at Portland State, a guy named Wright. And in '72, we moved to Los Alamos, New Mexico.
Okay.
The Manhattan Project and all that business.
Yeah.
Crazy little town, man, up in the mountains of northern New Mexico. When I was 10, I took his last name. He adopted me.
Nice.
He had 3 kids from previous marriage, 2 brothers and a sister. And we stayed, I grew up there from then on in Los Alamos. I grew up until I graduated high school. It was pretty tough growing up, even though we had, we were upper middle class for sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're both alcoholics.
Mm.
A lot of domestic violence. I think things it's as doing some of these shows and then listening to some of these shows, that seems to be a constant thing with a lot of guys.
Yeah, it's pretty common, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure. I learned how to compartmentalize when I was about 5. The little school, the elementary school I went to was right across the street from the house in Portland there.
Okay.
And 30 feet from the front door were some bleachers, and I would watch baseball out there.
Okay.
While that shit was going on in my house, right?
Yeah.
And then all that carried on right on through growing up too. Los Alamos is actually a pretty cool place to grow up. I mean, it was safe back then in the day. I just tried to stay out of the house as much as I could, because there was just a lot of drinking, a lot of domestic violence, police coming. So I had, early on, I was like, I'm getting out of here, man. So when I was 18, I joined the Army Reserves, and I had applied to an art school in Denver,
Okay.
Colorado Institute of Art, and I got accepted to that. And so right after I graduated, 30 days after I graduated in '83, in June, I went off to Army basic training for the Army Reserves, Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Okay. Yeah.
Never been to the South, man. Didn't know shit about humidity, right? And I really I didn't know much about the military.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I was just trying to I was like, okay, this will help me pay for school, and I don't have to ask them for shit, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, that was an eye opener down there, and then all the people you meet from all these different places. Los Alamos kids lived a pretty sheltered little life, right? So, yeah, I got back from that. I went out there, Fort Jackson, did the whole basic training, went to graduation. They have you out on a big parade field, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Graduated. We went back to the barracks, and I had a Red Cross message. my cousin had murdered my uncle, shot him in the
Wow.
head when he was high.
No shit.
Yeah, for sure, right?
Damn.
Uh, for me in the reserves, back then, I went to basic training one summer, and then the following summer, you would go to do your AIT.
Okay.
So I had just graduated from basic, and I was getting on a plane the next day to fly back to New Mexico anyway. So I met my folks at the airport, or they met me, so I guess, and we flew out to Oregon for all that business, the funeral and all that. Really didn't have time to process any of that, and
Mhm.
so, but art school was calling, right? So I packed up my Pinto a couple weeks later, my little
Nice.
Ford Pinto, right?
There you go.
Yeah, yeah, one of those that explodes when you hit the
Yeah.
gas tank.
Yeah. Don't get rear-ended in that thing.
Hell yeah, man. So,
Oh, that's
yeah, I
awesome.
drove up to Denver, got an apartment up there with the dude from the school, and, everything was going great. I took a part-time job up there at this, Tenneco gas station and, got held up at gunpoint, man. Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Um, I worked, so I was a gas island attendant. This back in the day before they had, like, self-serve and all that
Yeah,
kind
like
of stuff.
full service
Yeah,
gas station? Okay.
wore a little smock, and you had, like, just a bill changer, billfold kinda
Yeah.
deal in your pocket, and, yeah, I was filling up this Cadillac, and it's back in the day, they had the license plates that would
Flip down?
flip down, and then
Yeah.
that's right where the gas
Right.
port was, right?
Right, yeah.
So I'm filling up this Cadillac, and I feel this guy, grab me by the arm, by the left arm, kinda swung me around, and, he put a 45 in my ribs,
Damn.
and, it was 1911, I still remember it, and, uh, he said, "Give me all the money, don't make a sound, man." I said, "Take it, dude."
Yeah.
Um, it wasn't I don't know, probably had maybe 150 bucks in there, ain't nothing to get killed about, right?
Right, right.
But that fucked me up pretty good right off the
Yeah.
bat. I'm 18, right? I've got,
Yeah.
just been to one funeral. Now this happens to be a month and a half, 2 months later, right?
That's wild, man.
I ended up withdrawing out of class. I was doing good to school, but that threw me for a loop.
Yeah.
And so I went back down to Los Alamos, was hanging out. Now it's creeping up on the winter of '84, in that January. I had a lot of friends that were at New Mexico State down in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and also at University of New Mexico in Albuquerque. And I would drive down on some weekends because I was just doing odd jobs in Los Alamos until I went to my next AIT that next summer. But anyway, I was down in Las Cruces one weekend, raising hell, drinking a beer with my buddies down there, and my mom calls my buddy's room, his dorm room, man. And Los Alamos was a pretty small place, so my mom had gotten that phone number from his parents.
Mm.
But I got on the phone and I found out that my sister Dana, who was a year older than me, was killed out
Damn.
in Florence, Oregon. There was like this rogue wave and a big log rolled in with it, and it just crushed her.
Man.
Yeah. So I took some hits, right off out of high school, man. The trauma was coming.
Yeah, no doubt.
By and growing up in that with my parents and stuff, I had built up a pretty good solid wall.
Mhm.
You know, I wasn't letting anything in, and those things I just grabbed and threw in the back of that thing, and it just behind that wall, the trash compactor just packed them down, man.
Were you close with your sister?
So they would come out every summer, out to New Mexico, and yeah, when they're out, for sure. My brother Don, he's about 6 months younger than me, and then Dana was a year older than me, and then our older brother Greg, and he was 4 years older than me, and he's a professor, a really smart dude, down and everything. But me, Dana, and Don, since we were so close to age, we hung out a lot, and it was a really good time, man. And yeah. So that was pretty, that was yeah, that was trauma at its best right there.
Well, I know you said you had a wall built up. Like, how did you cope with all that all together like that, man?
I didn't, man. Well, I guess you know what? Los Alamos is up on a bunch of mesas, right, kinda spread
Mm,
out in the foothills of the Jemez Mountains, and
okay.
in between it, you got all these canyons, and we drank beer in the canyons.
Oh, gotcha.
So, I mean, that's what we were doing. My family wasn't religious at all.
Okay, I was gonna ask you that.
Yeah, never baptized, anything like that.
Okay.
Uh, dealt with it as I could, man.
Mhm.
A lot of that got just shoved back behind that wall because, my folks weren't any roadmap on that either.
PJ, I want to ask you this real quick. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna I'm not gonna give away until we get to this part of the story, but because we talked off air a little bit, we we're both into metal.
yeah.
We weren't raised with religion. What were your thoughts at that age? Did you have any kind of concept of the afterlife, or where was your mindset when it came to like where am I gonna go when I die? Or is there evil? Is there good? Did you have any kind of mindset when it pertained to all that stuff?
Yeah, I did, I sure did,
Okay.
and not only I'm a guitar player too.
Nice. Okay.
So, yeah, I played in some bands and whatnot. Went for the Wamba type stuff coming, your Iron Maidens, Judas Priest, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I
nice.
kinda saw it for what it was back in the day, not so much Satan worship, because that
Okay.
big deal was going on,
That's
right,
where I
back
was
then.
going with that,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
That's where I
and,
was going with that, yeah.
I mean, maybe some King Diamond if you're into that or
Oh,
some
yeah.
Venom, yeah, okay, that
Yeah,
stuff, but,
Venom.
your Saxons and your Judas Priest and all that, that was just really good music.
Yeah.
Now I can tell you where I definitely, had some thoughts about that. So I was in elementary school when that movie, The Omen, came out,
Well, that's a weird movie.
okay? Uh, in our little town, I lived in White Rock, which is a little, uh, suburb of Los Alamos, separated by about 10 miles. And back then, you could just take a, note signed by your parents to get into the R-rated movies, right? And
Nice.
elementary cool elementary kids, man, right? If there's
Wow.
actually a friend of ours, his parents own the theater, so it's kind of a yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you're getting in there. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but me and this guy, named Jeff, we went and saw The Omen. Yeah, and so my birthday is 6/6/65,
No way, dude. Yeah. Wow.
and so that's really the first I had heard, like, Revelation and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
And my
yeah.
buddies wanted to shave my head to see if I got 3 sixes on there, right?
Dang,
So
dude.
that freaked the shit out of me.
I bet.
So that carried on right up through uh, growing up, like when Iron Man came out with Number of the Beast,
Yep.
I was like, "Well, I gotta hear
Yep.
what they gotta say on this," right?
Damn, dude.
So, yeah, I mean, I was
What
pretty reassured
what
that I wasn't the demon, but yeah.
right. What age were you? Elementary school when you saw that?
Yeah, like 6th grade or something, man, maybe
Dang,
11,
dude.
12, yeah,
And for you guys that are watching right now that are younger, The Omen is a movie where the kid is he's the Antichrist.
yeah,
It's one of those like old school horror movies, kind of like The Exorcist, but instead of demon possessed, he's the actual Antichrist. I think they made several. There was
yeah,
the dad in it was super famous. I can't remember his name, but yeah, dude, that's wild. So you kind of already had a, I guess, exposure for lack of better words to the dark side, but didn't maybe really understand it. Obviously, it's
yeah,
sixth
I
grade, but
yeah, I didn't understand it, and, even though I didn't have any kind of religion or anything, I believed in God. I thought there was a God out there.
mm,
I didn't know what that all entailed.
right, okay,
You hear all this fire and brimstone shit, and you're just
hmm
like, um, yeah. So yeah, went on with that. Kind of crazy.
yeah, it is crazy. Well, let me ask you this, man. Being in the metal culture, being a musician, you go and see that movie in sixth grade. Did you ever have any opportunities to mess with like a Ouija board, or did you ever get involved with like tarot card reading or like palm readers or any of that kind of stuff?
Well, yes, we tried the Ouija board deal,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
And man, just the board, even looking at the box scared me, man.
That's some
That thing
freaky
was like that
stuff,
looked.
dude.
I know, and um, we didn't really mess around with it, and after seeing that movie, I was like, "I'm not inviting any of these sons of bitches into my head," right?
Hell no, dude.
I mean,
Nuh-uh.
fine. Um, yeah. So why let him in?
Mhm.
Um,
They sell that shit at Toys R Us, man, or they used to.
yeah. The tarot card, I don't put too much. I don't know much about tarot card, but at the end of my story here, you're going to hear a little bit about a tarot card
Okay.
that was absolutely real, the real deal.
Mm.
So save that
Okay.
little piece for
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, okay. Well, so you're in the Army Reserves, you go
Yeah.
to AIT. How do you end up in from the Army Reserves into the Air Force? Because obviously you were active duty, correct?
Yes.
Air Force.
So Army Reserves, thank God, was lame. All right. Um, basic and AIT are fine. I was a 36 kilo combat radio operator. Okay.
Okay.
My reserve unit was in Santa Fe, and it was a finance unit.
Oh, wow.
They didn't even have a radio.
Right. Right.
It,
Yeah.
it was just lame, man.
Yeah.
And after I had gotten out of AIT, I had gone down to New Mexico State to start down there
Okay.
college. But my AIT ran a couple of weeks long, and so I didn't show up to New Mexico State. I was 2, 3 weeks behind already.
Wow.
I was like, man, am I getting a break from this? So I pulled out of there and I went up to Albuquerque and moved in with some friends. And then I went and saw a recruiter because I was like, listen, I, I know the military stuff now since I,
Mhm.
had that little exposure of,
Yeah.
basic and AIT. And well, I know that's a paycheck, right? And, but I wasn't too sure about going full time Army. So I went and talked to the Air Force and I said, yeah, man, you can transfer right from the reserves into the active duty Air Force. So about 4 months later, man, that's what I did.
Okay.
The one cool thing when they sent me to basic out in San Antonio, I only had to do 3 week basic training for the Air Force because I had done the Army.
Right, yeah.
So
Just
I don't know if they do that anymore, but
they did it when I was in, just you get used to the rank structure and how
yeah,
things are, because I was in the Navy, and I know when I was
yeah,
looking at the Army, it was kinda similar, but,
yeah. I mean, there was a test. They got to make sure you know the rank and all that
yeah.
crap, right? And I had picked a job, aircraft armament system specialist on F-15s.
Cool.
And so my tech school, I after 3 weeks of that basic, I mean, I waited 2 days and boom, I was on a plane off to Lowry Air Force Base in Denver.
Mm. Okay.
So I did about 4 months there, and then I was pretty stoked waiting on a set of orders to wherever. I mean, I had there were some pretty nice bases back then in the mid '80s.
Mhm.
Camden, Amsterdam, that was in Holland. You had Bitburg in Germany, these F-15 bases and whatnot.
Yeah.
Nope, those fuckers sent me to southern New Mexico.
Oh, dude, that sounds pretty typical, man. That sounds like the military.
Yeah,
That sucks, dude. That sucks.
yeah. And my parents are still off the rails.
Yeah.
I'm down in Alamogordo, New Mexico. It's about a 4-hour drive to Los Alamos. And
Okay.
my mom was calling all the time. I'd have to go up there and try to help whatever chaos they had going on.
Man.
One time I got called by the chaplain's office. Flight chief came out to the flight line, gets me, and says, you got to go in and call the chaplain. That's never good, right?
Right.
Last time I had to deal with a chaplain was when my uncle got murdered, right? So I'm like,
Yeah.
ugh. But I went in and called, and my grandmother had called the chaplain because she didn't know how to get a hold of me. And my
Wow.
mom was in a rehab up in Albuquerque, causing all kinds of shit trouble up
No.
there.
No kidding.
So I took some leave that afternoon, and I drove up to Albuquerque, got with a friend of mine and his wife, and that's where I was going to stay for the weekend. And they knew where this rehab was, and it was dark by then. That day, it had already gotten dark as we pull into the parking lot of this rehab, man. My mom goes sprinting across the fucking lawn in a gown, making a run for it, man. I know. So I was just like, you can't make this shit
No.
up, man. You just can't.
Yeah.
And so I had been down at home at about 2.5 years by then. And that same kind of shit. I knew the only way I was gonna get to some kind of normalcy was to get out of there, get out of New Mexico for sure.
Right.
And at this point, I liked the Air Force. It was a great time, man. I mean, yeah, I turned 21 when I signed into Holloman, and we go do our work, and there's a bunch of people to party with, drinking beer, and it was during the Cold War, so it was like exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I put in for a remote tour. That's the quickest way to get out of whatever base you're stuck at.
Okay.
I put in for everywhere, and I got picked up for Keflavik, Iceland.
Wow.
Yeah, we had a small detachment up there, a fighter interceptor squadron of F-15s, and that's on a Navy base. And so I was up there the whole year of '89, January '89 to January '90. Um, can't say it's such. You see Iceland on TV nowadays, and that looks like a pretty cool place. And
Mhm.
yeah, not when I was up there.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, winds blowing, 40 miles an hour every day, and it's yeah. But it got me out of New Mexico, man. Right?
No doubt. Yeah, you're a long way from home there.
Yeah. So I did my year up there, and the cool thing was my roommate, who was my roommate in the dormitory at Holloman. He got orders there too, and we traveled together,
Cool.
and we're roommates up there.
Nice.
So yeah, out of there, they sent me to Florida, to Eglin Air Force Base in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great
I heard
place.
I saw one of your interviews talking about Pensacola. Yeah,
Yep.
McGuire's is a good damn
Oh, that's
time
a
right there.
great place, man.
Yeah,
That's a great
man. Yeah,
place.
yeah. Been there, and
That's a
and the one
good
down in Destin, and yeah.
dude. I
Uh,
I always like the one in Pensacola better. Destin was cool because it has that
yeah,
rooftop area.
yeah.
But man, like I was in OCS on St. Patrick's Day, dude, at McGuire's Pub. It, it
Tearing it
was
up.
it was amazing. Yeah, it was amazing. I don't know how we even made it back to the base
Yeah.
that night. It
I
was
remember
awesome.
they had, like, a drink called the Irish Wake or something like that,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they'd only serve you 2 of them.
yep.
Yeah, so
It's in
that's
that. It's in
telling you
that.
right there.
It's in that big green mason
Yeah,
jar.
yeah,
Yeah,
man,
dude.
yeah, and dollar bills hanging all over the place.
You got a uniform on. You can get more than two.
Yeah, there you go. But I did, 4 years there at Eglin. I went to Desert Storm while I was
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
Did 8 months over in Saudi Arabia, supporting F-15 squadron. I worked on the launchers and whatnot,
Okay.
in the back shop at Eglin.
Nice.
Um, and then I was ready to get out of there, man. 94 rolled around. I was like, God, I like overseas stuff, and
Mhm.
so I got put in for another remote and got Osan Air Base in South Korea.
Okay.
Went over there for a year. That was actually from Desert Storm. I got a remote tour out of Desert Storm too.
Nice.
So when I got done with Korea, man, I had 3 remote tours, and you can write, on your dream sheet, the Air Force called it. You can pretty much rate your own ticket after
Mhm.
three remotes. So I put in to go to Elmendorf Air Force Base in Anchorage, Alaska.
Wow, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Why Alaska?
Well, it was still in the United States, but it was an overseas long tour.
Oh, okay.
So you got all the benefits of doing an overseas long tour, plus the place is gorgeous.
Okay, nice.
Um, and they had F-15s, so I was back on F-15s up there.
Yeah.
I got up there, man, and as like I said, in another podcast, as much as it could have been the best assignment in the world, it wasn't. They had I didn't fit in with some of the cliques up there,
Okay.
and they had all clicked up. A lot of hunters and all that
Right.
guys doing consecutive overseas tours, and until you're in that club with them, you're an outsider,
Right,
even though
right.
you're all in the same, Air
Yeah.
Force.
Yeah.
So I did a couple years out on the flight line there, and then I went into what they called the Maintenance Operations Center, the MOC, where kind of the fingers on the pulse of all the what's going on for maintenance and stuff. And then you would, I'd talked on the radio and dispatch maintenance teams to this or that.
Okay.
Um, by this time, I've been in just almost 12 years,
Wow.
and my 3 years was coming up, and I was starting to think, what am I going to do, man?
Right.
I didn't want to go back to the South because I hate humidity and bugs. Yeah, I didn't want to go to some of these other bases, and I was just like, maybe I'll get out of the Air Force and go into the Army. Yeah, right. And, in my book, I felt like a number up there.
Oh,
You
gotcha.
feel like you're just in that big cog, man,
Yeah, yeah.
and I wanted to do more, uh,
Right.
you know? So when I was at Eglin, a couple of guys I worked with, they put in so back in the day before we got our own career field, um, it was a special duty to go become an aerial gunner, and you
Okay.
had to be an aircraft armament systems guy, and
Oh.
you either went to 53s, HA-60s, or the gunships, the C-130s,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and, all those were special duty, and it still was that way. So in the early '98, I put in a package to go down there.
Okay.
Uh, I put in for the 53s, and, there wasn't a lot of info out there on how you do it, and I had to call my buddies, say, "What do I gotta do? What do you need for this thing?"
Right.
Flight physical, all these letters of recommendation, blah, blah, blah. And so I put it in, and I thought, "Oh, man, these guys aren't gonna call me," you know?
Mhm.
I'm a little guy, man, anyway, and, well, shit, man, about 2 weeks later, I got a call.
Nice.
And they had a selection process. It was like a week and a half long. It was called Commando Look, right? So they'd bring you down to Hoover Field. There was, you had to do a physical fitness test, which was a higher standard than the Air Force. You had to do pull ups down and some other stuff. I think it was like a 2.5 or a 3 mile run in
Okay.
a certain time. And there was also a swimming aspect to it.
Right, yeah.
Well, I can't swim for shit, but I went to Elmendorf school enough to go to learn
Right,
how.
right.
I mean, I ain't gonna drown, but well, I could. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
So
know what you're saying.
yeah.
What
And
part of Florida is that? That's near, Destin, right?
oh,
Destin,
it's
Panama
it's
City?
5 miles from Eglin, man.
That's
They're
what I
both right
thought,
there.
yeah.
They're
That's what
both
I
right there
thought.
in Fort Walton Beach.
Okay, Fort Walton, that's right, yeah, that's
So,
right.
and Eglin was fighter jets, F-15s, and then they had that test site over there where they tested munitions and whatnot for the fighters. And the
Mhm.
Robert Field was AFSOC.
Okay,
So
that's right, that's
headquarters
right.
AFSOC, and then all the AFSOC aircraft, pretty much.
That makes sense, yeah, okay.
So actually, me and a guy from my squadron went down there together to Commando Look. We did our fitness test, and I passed that. All right. I was like really worried about that. Uh, then they had a bunch of other stuff, like they took us on a flight at night because 99% of the time we'd fly at night.
Right.
We had to take that 800 question Minnesota test, psychological testing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you'd take that, and then you'd go see an Air Force psychologist who would tell you how fucked up you were. He told me I had an addictive personality, and I'm like, "Well, shit, I knew that." But,
Right, right.
yeah, after all the other shit I've been through.
Yeah.
But then he says, "You're the kind of dude we're looking for." I was like,
Nice,
"Oh, all right, man." They
nice.
weren't I can say they were looking for a certain type of guys.
Mhm.
Okay, and at this time, we were the only airframe in the Air Force that was all male. We still didn't have females.
Yeah.
So they were looking for these certain people.
Mhm.
And a lot of your spit and polish Air Force dudes aren't quite what they're looking for, and it has a lot to do with how you're going to jive with the rest of the guys because you're in a
Yeah.
small unit now,
Right.
working with all the other tier special ops guys,
Mhm.
and sure, having a guy all spit and polished out there looks good, but can he hack it in the back of a helicopter?
Yeah.
The last thing we had to do was go meet a board, and they had like there was colonels, I don't know, probably like 15 people in there, senior enlisted guys. You walk in, you salute, you sit down, and then they start asking you questions. And there was no way to, there was nothing to study for you just had to be honest.
Mhm.
They asked me all kinds of questions, and I was just like jumping through them and thinking, oh, well, I guess that's all right. I remember they asked me what my pet peeve for the Air Force, what was my biggest pet peeve? And shit, I know it's that. I just said indecisiveness. People that can't make a decision kill me.
Yeah.
Just make a decision, man. You
Yeah.
know, right or wrong, stick by it. And
Right.
so I thought, yeah, that's just yeah. Anyway, so I got done. They had me wait out in the hallway, and then they said, brought me back in. And I thought, just looking at these guys, you couldn't read them at all, man. It was, and I thought they were going to tell me no. They said, we appreciate your leadership down here while you're here for commando look. I was an E5 staff sergeant. The only person I was leading was myself.
Right.
But at least I did a pretty good job of that, apparently. And, thanks me for that. And then I thought that's when, perfect pause in what they're saying. And they're going to say, right now, we're not really ready for you, whatever. And I said, no, we'd like to offer you a position as an aerial gunner.
Nice.
You're going to go to a bunch of prerequisites, and then you're going to go to a formal aerial gunner course at Kirtland Air Force Base in Albuquerque that is anywhere from like 6 to 8 months long. But first, you're going to go back up to Alaska, and we want you to call us on Monday to tell us. We want you to think about what you're getting into. And
Really?
yeah, man, I never heard that in the
No,
Air
that's
Force.
I never
We,
heard that in the military
right.
at
We want you
all.
to think about what you're getting into.
Wow.
And so I was like thinking about, well, that shit was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
So my parents by this time they'd gotten sober and whatnot because,
Nice.
I had talked to them about it and everything. But I called them up and said, yeah, man, I'm in.
Uh-huh.
And they said, okay. I still had a couple months left up in Alaska. They said, we're going to go ahead and send you to these prerequisites while you're still stationed in Alaska. And then you can just drive down from Alaska straight to the schoolhouse.
Okay.
So I was like, right on. They sent me this 2-week thing and course, enlisted aircrew undergraduate course, kind of a weeding out course in Texas. That wasn't that big a deal. Then went for the month long basic SEER course up at Fairchild Air Force Base in Washington. And that included the POW stuff and all that.
Right. Right.
Went to the Dunker,
I was gonna ask when that was coming up. Yeah.
and that was my nemesis, man. That thing's about the size of a minivan, and
Yeah.
it's sitting on, it's got their heads hanging up over a pool. Then they
Yeah.
drop that thing in the water, and it
Yeah.
flips upside down, and you're in there with like 6 or 7 other people, and you got to swim out, making all this, three-way positive control, holding on to it stuff, and yeah, man. The first 2 you have to do it like 4 times. First 2, you just do it. The
Mhm.
3rd and 4th time, you're blindfolded. They stick blacked out goggles on your eyes. I got kicked in the middle of the right in the middle of the nose by this guy in front of me. So I had to do it a 5th time because
Oh
my
man.
goggles had broken.
Oh man.
But then I had some problems. After that, you'd go over and do the HEEDS bottle. It's a helicopter emergency escape device, little air tank thing. But
Mhm.
when I went underwater, that being kicked, man, I guess that lodged something loose up there, and I had a wicked sinus infection, and so
Man.
I had to wait. They wouldn't let me back in the pool, and I was like, "Shit, I'm not gonna be able to do my deal now, right?"
Yeah.
Um, but I looked at their Navy reg, and those were 2 separate classes. So
Hmm.
I'd already passed the Dunker.
Yeah, right, right.
So I said, "I can get scheduled for the HEEDS bottle on down the road," and AFSOC was like, "Yeah, man, cool."
Nice.
So, drove to Albuquerque, back in Mexico, and started the MH-53 Payload Gunner School. My class consisted of me and another guy named Lyle, and it's got 2 months or so. Starts out with academics and stuff, and then and everything you do has an academic class attached to it, right? And then you fly, like 10 or 12 day flights. You're graded, and then you get a check ride to go into nights. That's about the same amount of night flights. And you're doing all the same stuff. Now you're doing it on goggles and all whatnot. And it
Mhm.
was a pretty damn tough course, actually.
I bet it was. Hey,
Yeah.
what year was this?
I went to schoolhouse in '98.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um, it was. I before that, I'd been in what 12 years or whatever,
Right.
and gone to those professional military education and this and that Air Force stuff,
Mhm.
and done really well. I was just in as graduate here and there. Even though I wasn't really trying to be, it just came to me. But man, that school down in that Pavlo school is another story altogether.
Oh, I'm sure, man. Well, so 98, like, what without giving anything away that's too sensitive, obviously, I know more about the 160th, but, like, what missions were they known for up until 98? I mean, obviously, you had Mogadishu. I don't know how much the Air Force was involved with that, but,
Well,
like
so one of Pavlo's mottos is Pavlo leads. So during Desert Storm, when the air war kicked off,
mhm,
so there was 2 radar sites that needed to be taken out, and the Army got tasked with it with their Apaches,
mhm,
and so they had 2 groups of Apaches going for each one of these, although they didn't have the kind of electronics we had in the Pavlos
right,
with the, GPS back then and the internal navigation, the Doppler, all this stuff, right?
mhm,
Uh, 253s led those 2 different groups, so each 53 had 4 or 5, I don't know, Apaches behind them
wow,
to about 4 or whatever their engagement zone was for those radar sites.
okay,
And they threw Kim lights off the tails of the 2 Pavlos. Pavlos turned around. Those Apaches lit up those radar sites, and then it was on. All the
man,
aircraft were going right through there.
wow,
So stuff like that.
okay, cool,
And then part of JSOC,
right,
a force multiplier with JSOC. So
right, right,
whatever comes up, right?
yeah,
As in like 9/11.
right, well, I knew that was coming, yeah, I knew that
Yeah.
was coming, yeah,
Um, but yeah, in Albuquerque, I was doing okay. A lot of academics, you got to study your ass off.
I'm sure, yeah,
But I got to about 2 rides from my check ride, and I came down with allergies really bad because Albuquerque, cottonwood trees out there.
okay,
So I was like, damn, they're going to medically disqualify me. And I'd
mhm,
done all these flights, and they said, nope, we're going to send you on down to Florida, and you can finish up the flying program down there.
cool,
Yeah, so I went down to Hurlburt to the 20th Special Operations Squadron down to Hurlburt, and also known as the Show back then because those were
nice,
the guys, right?
yeah,
Flew with those hardcore instructors down there, and man, they didn't give me any breaks. But I'm glad I actually got to do that because it made me a better gunner. Um, just getting all of that stuff. I had to get allergy shots. I was doing them like every day or every other day when you'd only go in and get them like once a month. I was over at Eglin Hospital every day or every other day, and so, and then I got back up on flight status and was able to complete the program.
what a great duty station though, man, I mean, what a great place to be at, I think.
Well, it's still got humidity and bugs.
And it's still Florida, dude. There's a beach. There's a beach.
Yeah, here's a little something for that I can fall on with you. We would do day flights, right, down
Uh-huh.
there, a couple of whatever the reason, and if we were on a day flight that's, summertime or whatever, we'd fly down the beach.
I'm sure.
We're up
Yeah.
300 feet, we're flying down the
Yeah.
beach.
Yeah.
So they got those 2 sandbars, right? You got one sandbar right there, and then there's another one that goes out and then into the deeper water.
Mhm.
Man, that water is so clear that when you're up in a helicopter, man, there's a lot of sharks out
Yeah.
there on that second sandbar, man. And you can
Yep.
see people out there in the water, and 10 feet away is a hammerhead. They don't even know it's there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That stretch, in Destin, my
yeah,
brother did flight school in Pensacola, and he told me, he was like, "Dude, don't ever go out on that sandbar where all those boats are and people are standing up on." He said, "The other side of it is nothing but sharks."
yeah,
It's like
yeah, man.
yeah.
So, I was like, all right. But yeah, it was a good assignment down there.
Yeah, that's a cool place. So you get through the school and then, you're assigned, I guess, in that same at that same base?
Yeah. So I
Okay.
was at the 20th SOS. I was in A flight. We had 3 flights, A, B, C. Did one wasn't more high speed than the other. You just, somebody had to be in each flight, and we would train up with the teams. So when the teams are doing train up, we're doing train up with them, doing whatever. We're going out on ships, getting our boat quals.
Mhm.
Um, the night water operations where we put out Zodiac rafts and stuff, getting all those. Whenever, and we would go TDY a lot, Virginia, out in San Diego, you know, 101st there in Kentucky, all over the
Mhm.
place.
Yeah.
Benning, go to Benning a lot, work with the Rangers.
Right.
Um, and so that's what we were doing. And, and then 9/11 kicked off. And my flight was on alert, our last day on alert. I was actually in an advanced SEER course, a week long advanced SEER course at Hurlburt. And yeah, that was, no aircraft were flying then,
Mhm.
but we had some Pablos up in at Fort Bragg for their exercise for the Green Beret guys,
Mhm.
and JSOC sent those up to New York, and so they were
Mm.
flying FEMA guys. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they were at Robin Sage
Oh,
exercise for
okay.
the
Yeah.
graduation deal for the berets. Yeah,
Yep.
and
Very
so
cool.
yeah, uh, yeah, so that happened, and then my flight deployed on September 21st. So 10
2001?
days.
Wow. Yeah. Man.
I was not with them
Okay.
though. September 23rd, I had to start the NCO Academy down at
Oh,
Tyndall Air Force Base in Panama
man.
City.
Still at the
So,
beach.
so yeah, yeah, man. Begrudgingly, I went down there, and
Yeah.
actually, my instructor was a guy I was stationed with in the armament shop in Korea.
No
So I was kind of,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's
But
cool.
there was like four of those Pablo guys down there, and we got through it, man. But we were, that was a hard to watch because you
Oh,
train up
yeah.
for all this shit, and
Yeah.
then, uh, needless to say, we graduated on a Thursday, I believe it was, and I was on a C-17 that weekend within hours.
Yeah.
We had one of our helicopters that had done a rough landing over there when they were trying to get a soft guy that was having some altitude sickness, and the radar failed on that aircraft. They ended up packing it in, kind of. Nobody died or anything. Some guys got hurt, and then they blew up that helicopter. So they were taking another one over and new crews. So, um, when my flight deployed, they went to Oman, the Sear Island, part of Oman, out there in the Indian Ocean, I believe it is.
Mhm.
Uh, then they got out onto a ship, the Palau, which floated them close to the coast of Pakistan, and then they went into Jacobabad, Pakistan. You'll hear, they had the guys up north doing putting those guys in what your dad's folks up there at
Mhm.
160th, and so the Pavlos were in the south. We had to fly over the Hindu Kush every night.
Wow.
But uh, when I got on the C-17, I thought, okay, we're going to Masira, and no, we landed right there in Pakistan, and then little weird base. We had probably as a matter of fact, our squadron commander was the base commander for this operation there, just de facto kind of base commander.
Yeah.
And there's probably like 1,800 people there. You had your SEALs, Green Berets, CIA guys,
Mhm.
air crew, maintenance guys, all this, and they had Karzai there. Karzai was in a building there, holed up, waiting to get put in with the CIA guys.
Mhm.
His minder, our pilots jokingly called his CIA minder guy Chuck Norris's dad. Yeah. So yeah, I've been there 3 or 4 days, and now I know we started doing infills, and really the air war couldn't start too much until the Pavlos got there
Yeah.
because our radar quals were all up to date. I guess I don't know. But yeah, they started the air war, and then we were putting teams in. So I flew that first infill. Um, to a supposed to be a cold LZ type thing. Well,
Mhm.
nah, we were getting shot at. browned out at 100 feet. You're doing this talcum powder, and that was pretty sporty. That's
Bet.
yeah. And then I was there until about the end of December, beginning of January.
Okay.
I rotated back home, and then they sent me to instructor upgrade school
Wow.
out back out in at Kirtland. And then in May, we went back up. Uh, we were now in Kandahar. We had our birds and 4 birds in Kandahar,
Mhm.
and we're working with all the customers. I'm sure you've heard your dad say
I
that
well,
customers.
I was gonna ask you, man, because like in the 160th, there are particular customers based on battalions, and I'm not gonna give away anything that people don't need to know. So my question for you would be like, I know the customers generally who someone really close to me works with on a regular basis. And you mentioned JSOC earlier. It's primarily JSOC guys. So with your squadron, were you guys mostly working with JSOC or was it all a SOCOM?
Jason.
That's what I thought. Okay, that's what I thought. Cool.
And during exercises before 9/11, the 160th would go. They'd be supporting, and
Mhm.
we would be there too. So we were the air wing for the Air Force part of that deal.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, the 160th has the capability, it's, the DAPs, your direct action penetrators, right? Yeah. Your
Dap
little,
Daps
yeah,
rule, motherfucker.
yeah. Um, your little birds
Yep.
and their 60s, and
Yep.
then the Chinooks,
Yeah.
and those Chinooks had more power than we had.
Right.
But we had some, and both airframes, man, we had the most intense electronics in these things, man. They were the
Yeah.
most sophisticated air helicopters in the world.
Payloads are badass, man.
Yeah, we could fly in complete clouds, let's say, in a
Mhm.
canyon at night, taking a team in, and our radar keeps us out of the hitting the side.
That's wild. Yeah, that's
And
wild.
yeah, it'll get your attention when you're doing that, and then you break
Um,
out of the clouds, and you see the cliff right there.
shit. Yeah, that's intense, dude.
But we train that shit up every night. And as
Right.
far as any of the ops goes, like what the 160 would do or what we would do, we did it all the time, all this stuff. So nothing was like new to us.
Yeah.
We just had to look and go, okay. Because a payload, you can, and a Chinook, but a payload, you can fit a truck in the back of that thing because
Mhm.
we were infilling Tacomas and whatnot, Hiluxes, and you name it.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. That's awesome.
But yeah, I went back in May. I was there in May to October of '02. I had a big mission. Everybody in my crew got distinguished flying crosses. Pretty hair
Everybody did? Wow.
Yeah, with
Wow.
Valor. Yeah, it was a pretty crazy deal. We launched out of Kandahar to go out for a Red Cross message.
No
I'm a
kidding.
magnet for these Red Cross messages, apparently. There was a soft guy out at a safe house that needed to get home, man. So
Okay.
we took 2 birds out there. We're gonna get them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's our guys. So we got him back to Kandahar, and then we're in the hot pits gassing up, and to put our birds back on. We cock them on alert status,
Mhm.
and our mission commander jumped in the back of the helicopter and said we had a follow-on mission. They give us a bunch of cases of water. There was and this is May. This is Memorial Day weekend back here in the states of '02 is where we're
Oh,
doing this.
wow. Okay.
There was a ODA team up near Asadabad, kind of over by Jalalabad, same mountains that the Operation Red Wings went down a few years
Yeah.
later at, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Same neighborhood.
Mm.
But there was a team up there. They were in contact. They broke contact. They separated into 2 elements. They're out of food and water. They're drinking IVs,
Hmm.
and they needed out.
Yeah.
So we fucking took off and went out there, hit a tanker, got up there. Uh, got we had to break off. So I was in the lead aircraft, Ninja 11. Ninja was our call sign. And we went in, we landed to get, and I was on the tail. We landed to get that first element. Our Chalk 2 was going in. And right as I got the ramp down, I got the team running in. Chalk 2 called over the radio that called it emergency. They had hit the side of the mountain. They thought they had killed a dude. Yeah. So it landed on a really bad slope, and we did too. It was just wasn't that anybody did anything wrong. It was just the luck of the draw, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
That that bird slid back a little bit. The pilot, with like thousands of hours, puts in forward cyclic, and a rotorcraft will come down and knock and chop off parts of the helicopter.
Yeah.
So it had cut off the refueling probe tip.
Damn.
They thought that was a guy's head. Thank God it wasn't.
Ooh.
Took out the engine cowling and some bunch of other shit. And so we got that going on. I hear that in my ears. Now I can see him
Yeah.
because I'm on the tail back there, and so I was able to call, okay, two's off. They're landed down in the sandbar, and so I was able, So we took and then we get the team in. I get the ramp up. I grabbed the team leader and said, "Dude, our other aircraft crashed. We're putting you in as security." They weren't too happy about that, but do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so we landed down there, put them in. We talked to the other aircraft on the radio. Obviously, severe vibrations. They were shutting down at that point. All kinds of stuff messed up. But that team was still up there. So we took off to go up in there. We did a low flyby. I saw their strobe light, and I was like, "Man, I don't think we can land in there." And then, but our guys in the right and left doors, this guy JB in the right door and Eric in the left, they're like, "Yeah, we can get in there, man."
Oh shit.
So they talked us really slowly in. Our pilot, Big Daddy, was his call sign, inched this thing forward, and they said, "Okay, we're clear to land, but you got to keep the nose in the air because the trees on the other side."
Wow.
So we're in
Damn,
this
dude.
saddle, right?
Yeah.
We got trees on this side. They said we're clear to land. I'm leaning back. I'm looking off the ramp forward, and our gear are not over the cliff yet. So I called stop down and talked us forward a couple 3 feet. Had a look, check, make sure we had both gear were on this ledge, and we sat down. And now we got our helicopter like this,
Mm-hmm.
with nothing over here and nothing over here.
Wow.
The right door, we had to bring him in the right door. JB had to tear apart the gun. He was like, I told him over intercom, I said, "Hey, they're gonna have to come in the right door, man, because the ramp's hanging over this ledge."
Yeah. Shit.
JB says, "Pease, are you sure?" I said, "Open the fucking door." Um, yeah,
That's some
great.
badass pilots too, man. Damn. That's
Yeah,
insane, dude.
Big Daddy used to be a Apache pilot for the 101st.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of our pilots had come through the army,
Huh.
and
Interesting. I
then
didn't know.
gotten their degrees, and then yeah.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Wow.
unfortunately, the guy in the right door, JB Lackey, he was later killed a few years later in a CV-22 crash. But
No
I
kidding.
mean, great dude, man. Um, so we got those guys on board. We took off, put them in with that other where the helicopter was. That crew's still there. We're
Mm-hmm.
at zero gas. We're bingoed, man. We got no
Mm.
tanker up there.
Oh
We
shit.
took off, and there was a Afghan guys starting to pile up on the other side of this little river,
Mm-hmm.
and so we hauled ass to Bagram to get some gas. When we were in the hot pits of Bagram, the Chinooks, two conventional Chinooks, were loading up the QRF, about 80 Rangers, and so we called JSOC and said, "Hey, we can lead them out there." And they're like, "Yeah, that sounds like a good idea." So we let them out there, and everything else pretty much. We got the crew on our aircraft and whatnot, so it all went good. But yeah, that was DFCs with valor for everybody on that. It was quite the mission.
Yeah. Yeah. That's intense, man.
Now, so I'm getting up to where we want to be here, just about. Um,
Yeah.
I
Well, thank you for sharing that, though, man. That was an incredible story.
Yeah, never forget that one.
I'm sure.
Um,
Yeah.
so when I went home, October of '02, and then I got sent to the instructor upgrade. Uh, Iraq was gearing up. I didn't go to Iraq. I got upgraded to instructor, and then I went to Djibouti,
Mm.
from like May to October again in Djibouti, and then I had And right before I went to Djibouti, I had a set of orders to Albuquerque to be an instructor there because that's like the tech school. So you're like formal tech school instructor, but you fly,
Okay.
right? So every guy's got an instructor right over their shoulder. So
Right, right.
controlled environment, my home state again, blah blah. That's when I started having some problems. So
Okay. You can't get
uh,
away from New Mexico, man.
tell him, man.
Dude.
Um, you know, I started having really bad dreams. That were like that had different outcomes. One little thing, one minor thing and it would be catastrophic. I'm waking up just drenched in sweat. I'm drinking more, trying to put this shit to bed, and
Yeah,
I just had that overall feeling of something's not right, man.
yeah. Were you reliving that mission that you just described? Is that the kind of the
Not that
genesis of
one.
it? Okay.
Not that one. Well, maybe that one. A lot of our missions were dust out. You dust out at, like 80, 100 feet. And man, it's rolling the dice when
Yeah,
you're doing that, man, and we rolled a couple of them over there, but that and just because as we flew all those missions, we became numb to it, at least I did,
right,
numb to all that, right?
right.
Now it's normal.
Yeah, you gotta process it.
You get back home and it's fucking chaos back
Yeah,
here. You're
yeah.
like, "Just put me back in the dust, man."
Mhm,
I don't know, mine was like Mike Morgan's, just an accumulation of things. We got shot at a lot too.
mhm.
Um, that first mission I flew in Afghanistan, there was rounds coming into our dust cloud, going out the other side. It was like a Pulp Fiction kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah. So all of that. And then what I found out later, your childhood and things that happened to you in the past. Okay, that stuff doesn't, well, that was that, and this is this. It's not like so unfortunately I had quite a bit of baggage, right? Um, I had rolled a car drunk. Um, Damn near got kicked out of the Air Force on that one there at Kirtland. And then they said our helicopter was retiring in '08. And so I retired in '07.
Oh, okay.
And then it really started hitting me because now I'm not flying missions. Now I can't put anything, stuff it down because I have a student to go train.
Right.
No, it's just wheels coming off the tracks. So I got a job I was working a contractor on Kirtland, a couple different places, and then I thought, hey man, if I go back overseas, maybe I'll be, that'll be better. So put my resume out there. Company out of Alabama picked me up. I went to the Iraqi flight school in
Hmm.
Kirkuk and was their ground scheduler and ops guy for like
Oh, wow.
16 months.
No kidding.
Yeah, got done with that. I went back to New Mexico for a year. Worked out at Cannon Air Force Base with the 20th SOS, who was down in CB-22s. And then I got a gig over in Afghanistan, 90 on, 90 off, flying in the back of King Air 2 prop job,
Mm.
turboprop plane, running a LiDAR and a camera. I did that for about 5 or 6 deployments or
That's
the
probably
90 days.
that's probably a spooky unit too, wasn't it?
Ours, not so much. We weren't real time. So
Okay.
we would go fly LiDAR, which gives a 3D image of the terrain. And then they take this high resolution pictures that we took at the same time, put them on top of each other, and now you got a high resolution 3D picture
Okay.
and look at everything.
Nice.
Yeah, when I got done over there, that's really when the wheels came off. It was 2014 when I was done with that gig.
Okay.
And then my mom passed away. They had moved back to Albuquerque, my mom and dad. And I had got my medical marijuana card, I was smoking weed. Family doesn't like smoking weed. It was helping until it didn't.
Yeah.
I have a thing called cannabis hyperemesis. Get violently sick from it. It's
Oh, really?
horrible.
Okay. Never heard of that.
It's no bueno. um, the VA had me strung out on various pills. You know how they did back then.
Yeah.
Um, so I went to this rehab in Wickenburg, Arizona, called the Meadows. A real high end place. My dad helped me get in there. and yeah, it's what I needed, man.
Mhm.
I really embraced everything. They taught everything. They had equine therapy, biofeedback, all this stuff. And you're in there with, I'm in there for weed and some pills and trauma. But
Mhm.
I got every heroin, whatever addiction, right?
Right.
and so I was like, all right, man, I can breathe a little bit. And then, like that third week there, they sent us to this other part of the facility they called the campus, and we went and did a week-long thing with called somatic experience, kind of like your body's telling you, and kind of like hypnosis kind of thing.
Mhm.
But that's when Jesus got a hold of me.
Good old Jesus.
In my book, I wrote it. I'll say it again because I got bitch slapped by Jesus. Is what happened.
I did too.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
but hey, Jesus, I like him very much, but he no
yeah,
help. He no help with curveball.
Joe Boo needs a refill.
That's right, he does.
And I was the guy. When somebody would ask back in the day, "Have you found Jesus?" and I'd be the guy. I didn't know he's lost, man.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
story, yeah, right?
Right.
So, but so this somatic experience stuff, kind of like I don't know. We spent the first part of the week doing like background stuff, and then we're in an office setting. There's five of us, so the other four people are watching, and you're in a chair, and then you got this PhD therapist person doing it. I was the first one to go, and they oh man, they spent about 2 hours talking me down to where I'm like, "What do you want to know, man? I'll tell you
Yeah,
anything."
yeah.
And they asked me what the first memory in my brain, and I didn't even think. I said, "Looking outside of an incubator."
Wow. No shit.
Never fucking knew where that came from.
Wow, dude.
And then, then I got a little crazy. So my mom was batshit crazy. Okay. She got, in her active addiction and stuff, that was, yeah. But towards the end, she died of cancer and whatnot, and she'd gotten better, right? Um, I heard her in this instant, in this deal, and through my ears, not in my head. I heard her say, "It's okay, let it go."
Wow.
Okay. And in that nanosecond of time, it felt like all the guilt and shame in my body was being sucked out the top of my head like a vacuum cleaner was up there.
Wow.
And the insides of my shins, it felt like maple syrup running down on the inside
Huh.
and pure energy shoot down to my toes.
No kidding.
Now, if somebody's listening to this, I'd be like, yeah, man, this is what I felt. Okay.
How did you
Uh,
tap into that? Like, how did they get you to that state?
just whatever, how they talk you down and your breathing exercises and all this.
Yeah.
Um, and then that's when it happened. Um,
When you met Jesus?
Yeah. So that vacuum left behind from that guilt and shame,
Yeah.
the only thing I could come up with is Jesus grabbed hold of my heart right then to let everything else go in the stuff, right?
Damn, I just got goosebumps, dude. That's incredible.
Well, I mean, shit, man. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, and so we go, all right, so that's done. We go and we're eating lunch or whatever, and there was a lady in our group, and she's all, "You kind of laid it on thick there, didn't you?"
Really?
Yeah. And I'm looking at her and I'm wanting to say, "Bitch, I'm fucking, what are you talking about?" I just said, "Well, I'm sorry if that's how you felt about it or whatever. I wasn't
Yeah.
in control of that shit." And then
Right.
she went right after me. And afterwards, she came out and apologized to me. She said,
Wow.
now I know what happened."
Man.
Okay. So this, that really, I didn't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
Ah, so they had a chaplain at that place. It was a female. And so I went and talked to her because
That's
this
heavy,
was
dude.
real, man.
Yeah, that's heavy.
And I'm like, so this all happened, and I'm like, now, so what do I got to give up now? I got to stop playing guitar, and I had long hair back then. Cut my hair. She's all, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, I seen them. They come to the door. They're all in these suits and whatnot.
Yeah.
She's like, the only thing you got to do is accept Jesus into your heart. And then she goes, except he already got into yours, you know? And I was like, okay. And
Yeah.
then I go, well, I've never been religious. She goes, we need to get you baptized. Well, they wouldn't do it there at the place, at the
Really?
rehab, because yeah, it might offend somebody.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like a Christian rehab per se or whatever.
No. And so she talked to this after you'd been through that 3-week deal that you could go on Sundays down to a church downtown or whatever.
Okay.
Because they take you and pick you up. They know you're not a runner by this part, right?
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
So they took me downtown and went in this all faith kind of Christian place. There was a band playing, maybe 100, I don't know how many people in there. No snakes. So I was happy about that.
No snakes.
And sat through it. I talked to the guy, the minister, and he told me to come back next Sunday and they'd baptize me. So I did, and like 15 of the other patients went down. And so sit through the hour thing, and then the guy says, hey, we're going to take PJ out back and baptize him. I invite everyone to come out back. The whole place piles out, and it's kind of like this old Western kind of deal.
Yeah.
Wood, and they had a horse trough sitting there full of water.
Hmm.
So I got in the horse trough, and they did a full immersion baptism on me.
That's awesome, man.
So I was like, all right. Now I felt like I was part of something.
Yeah.
Went back to the rehab, going on my way. And like I said, I put everything into that, getting whatever I could out of that place.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in a day room watching a FIFA soccer game, and this gal comes up to me and she says, "Hey PJ, can I talk to you?" I never talked to her before. I don't even think I'd ever seen her. I'm like, "Yeah, sure, what?" And she says, "So I've been noticing that you're getting it." I kind of was like, "I didn't notice you were noticing." And she goes, "And the people I hang out with have been seeing it too, who've actually talked about you. And I want to know what you're doing so that because you're getting it." I said, "Listen, I'm just fully surrendered and giving in to all this stuff because I want to get better."
Yeah.
And then I go, "But there's some aspects of it that I just can't, positive affirmations." I think that's Saturday Night Live shit, right?
Yeah.
Deep thoughts with Jack Handy or whatever, right?
Good enough and smart enough. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I tell her that. And I'd gone to UNM for a while before I went there in Albuquerque. I actually took a class on the Beatles. They had a
Wow.
Beatles class, yeah. So
No
there you
kidding. Huh.
go. That song, Let It Be, we
Oh
spent
yeah.
about 2 days on that song.
Hmm.
And so I tell this gal, I said, the positive affirmation stuff, I just use Let It Be.
Mm-hmm.
And this chick freaks out. She starts crying and panic attack. And I'm like, whoa, whoa. Takes her a few minutes to get her composure together. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, you don't understand. I'm thinking, oh, geez, I'm going to jail. What's happening? She tells me, I'm a heroin addict. A month and a half ago, my dad and I were shooting up, and he died. He overdosed and died. And last night, I prayed to God that he would show me a sign that my dad's okay. And then she says, his favorite song was Let It Be, and they played it on a loop at his funeral. And I just went, what? What?
Man.
That was the confirmation that I needed that I
Yeah.
didn't even know, and that yeah,
Wow.
um, boom, man.
That's wild.
When I left that place, because 'cause you'd fly into Phoenix and then they drive down, pick you up, and take you up there.
Mhm.
The guy who drove me up, he was really cool, we talked the whole way, and then I was in the dining hall, like, the Friday I was leaving the next Monday, he goes, "PJ, I'll be at your door at 5 a.m. to get you." I'm like, "Cool, man." And, you couldn't dip there, I dipped Copenhagen, you couldn't
Yeah.
dip. So
Okay.
he opens up the cart, and they had a Cadillac Escalade, open up the back, and there he's got a can of Copenhagen sitting there for me, right?
Nice.
And I go, "Wow," and he goes, "Yeah, put one in, man, you deserve it." And then I'm getting ready to go around, he goes, "No, hold on, I got something else for you." And he pulls this picture frame out of a backpack, and it's a vertical frame with 3 pictures of me getting baptized.
Oh,
He
nice.
was there, dude, I didn't even know it,
Wow.
and he took those pictures and framed it, and I was like, "Whew."
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So that's how I kinda got bitch slapped.
Yeah, that's dude, that's powerful, man. Did they before you got to the point of getting baptized, let's go back a little bit where you first encountered Jesus and you kind of felt that release and everything just leave. Were they quoting scripture or praying or any of that stuff? Because you said it wasn't religious.
None of it, bro.
Wow.
This was about my mom, and what I did leave out is I felt her pass over to somewhere else, that like she was stuck kinda thing.
Yeah, yeah.
All I can figure is that she needed to be there for when I came to there because she wanted to make it right,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
He gave you closure. He gave you closure, man.
yeah, um, yeah, for sure. That was in 2015,
Mhm.
and, I went back to Albuquerque, I got another job, just a non-DOD type job, I was working at and I did that for about a year and a half or whatever, and then I was just spinning the drain, man. I didn't know what to do, and I didn't know what to do with what I had been shown.
Yeah.
I didn't I did my identity was like, who am I, man?"
Mhm.
And my body was just riddled, my back was just so fucked up from flying,
Mhm.
you know? So in 2019, I started getting back surgeries. I've had 5 of them now,
Man.
but I said, "Man, I gotta get this back fixed." And so I did that. I was taking a computer online course through Los Angeles Film School for a recording engineer, and so that was occupying my time.
Yeah.
So I went and had this first operation, the first one on my neck, and then I came out of that and I started feeling better. And I said, "All right, I'm gonna get all this stuff fixed. And I'm gonna fix this head of mine because I'm, I had gone back to smoking weed because I didn't want to take the opiates,
Yeah.
and but I didn't sick. So I mean, I call myself the drain master because I freaking circled the drain for a long time." um,
What about the alcohol? Were you able to stay away from that?
yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, and they put me on different medications too.
Okay.
I was on there, but they did have me on benzos because
Mhm.
I'd have some panic attacks, man.
Yeah, yeah.
It was just kind of a hit and miss, and I said, "All right, well, I'm going to check out the Wounded Warrior Project, man,
Nice.
because back in the day they weren't so much uh, on it, I guess."
Mhm.
But they really got their shit together, and so they sent me I got a hold of them, and they sent me down to, Emory University in Atlanta for 2
Mhm.
weeks for an intensive IOP. Man, that was like I got to learn some things there,
Yeah.
like these changes in our brains are chemical.
Mhm.
It's not just your thinking, change your thoughts.
Right.
So I started going to these Wounded Warrior retreats, and then, 2023, I went to a Warrior Path retreat, which I highly recommend to anybody, up in Tacoma, Washington, and, That one was different from everything else. That had been designed by an Army Ranger, and they had things like blindfolded archery.
Wow. Huh.
Here's a good one that kind of fit right down my alley. They had a PhD guy there teaching transcendental meditation, and he was taught by that same guru cat Maharishi guy that taught the Beatles.
No kidding. Wow, dude.
So I went there, and I got a lot out of that. And then I had heard about ketamine,
Yep.
those infusion clinics. And so
Mhm.
I came out of pocket like 3 grand and did a series of like 6 or 8 of those ketamine infusions. And man, that helps. And,
Yeah.
because that is actually going in and working on the neuroplasticity, they call it, in your brain, that glutamate and all that. And I felt that. And it works on TBIs. I had a couple TBIs from, well, when I rolled that car when I was drunk, and then
I
another
bet.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was going good. And then I heard about Mexico.
Mm. I was wondering if this was gonna come up, especially since you know Mike.
Yeah. So I'd heard about the Mission Within. And people that know they're an organization in San Diego that there are a lot of retired or SEALs that got out, and now special operations community has really embraced psychedelics.
Yeah. Is that Marcus Capone? Is that his
That's
organization?
not his.
Okay.
His is I can't remember, Ambio. No, that's what
Oh,
Mike went to. I don't know. I can't remember what his is.
okay.
This one was formed by a guy named Dr. Martin Polanco, and he had used ibogaine, which I'll talk about here in a second, to treat a family member like 20 years ago. It worked. So I called him up, and they told me it was $4,500 for a veteran to come down there. Well, then the guy goes, "Were you by any chance part of the special operations community?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm a SOF Aircrew." And he goes, "Well, hang on a minute." He goes, "All right, man, you get a $2,500 grant
Sweet.
from the Special Operations Care Fund." So I said, "All right,
Nice.
man." And then you had to come off of all your psychotropic drugs,
Mhm.
and I was on a big dose of that gabapentin
Oh, okay.
because all these back surgeries.
Mhm.
I was on like 3,600 milligrams a day. Now
Damn.
yeah. Now I start trying to wean off of that by myself, and and also you could have a grand mal seizure kind of thing.
Right.
So I called the place and went and did a medical detox. I went out to Orange County, California, to just a house that had would take like 6 patients. Really nice house, but they had round the clock medical
Mhm.
and would administer my stuff with a good, safe off of this stuff. Now, I wasn't on any kind of legal drugs or anything like that, mostly psychotropic stuff. And, it's kind of weird when you tell them, "Hey, I'm here to get off of these medications because I'm going to go down to Mexico and do psychedelics."
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did that for 11 days and I got off that shit. I went back to Albuquerque, and then I flew out to San Diego, met up with the guys. We met at a restaurant, and there was, for patients, there was myself, there was a retired SEAL, retired Green Beret, retired MARSOC guy, and a civilian dude who'd been in prison. And we piled into a minivan and drove down to Rosarito, Mexico.
Huh.
Like 40-minute drive. And yeah, you're sitting there with, America's tip of the spear, and we're all shitting our pants. We're scared as
Yeah.
fuck
I
because we
bet,
don't know what's
man.
going to go on.
Yeah.
And we get down there, and we did they did a medical intake on us there, which was cool. And then we did like a group therapy kind of thing, and then we took ibogaine. Are you familiar with that stuff?
I watched that documentary, Waves of War.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah,
good.
with DJ Shipley.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
recommend everybody watch that.
that's a good one.
In
Yeah.
Waves and War on Netflix.
Mhm.
So this ibogaine is a root from West Africa that, and it goes in and does some work, both physically and spiritually, psychologically, you name it. and a heroin addict could take this stuff and pretty much uh, kick their addiction in like a weekend
Wow.
because the way it works, it resets all the receptors in your body.
Mhm.
And this, anyway, yeah. um, some people have it real tough, man. You know, like 12 hours, 14 hours. You're laying on a really nice mattresses, plush linen, all this, and we're all up in this one room. It's all hippied out and shit, you know. And some dude and you're puking. It's kind of like the ayahuasca, you know. One guy
Yeah.
shit himself, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. And then you come out of that, and what everybody's experience is different. And then they hit you up with an IV, put some electrolytes in you,
Mhm.
and then they call that the grade A. Get on that show they do too, because you're just man, it's like a fucking bad hangover, man. And and then the next day you smoke toad venom,
Yeah. Yeah.
the Sonoran bufo toad excretes that venom like if an animal's going to get it with its mouth.
Mhm.
And some fucker, some thousands of years ago, I guess, decided, hey, if we dry this out
Smoke
and
it,
smoke
man.
it, it might be a pretty good time.
Far out, man.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Who's that guy or gal, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, that sealed the deal for me. Um, what they had told us and what I had found out from my research online, ibogaine is likened to defragging a hard drive, but it's your brain.
Right, right.
And any of these broken connections and whatnot, it's shit canning them
Huh.
and then forming new ones and doing all this, right?
Yeah.
And the toad venom is likened to a near death experience.
I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard that.
Well, I'm here to tell you, you could do 3 hits of this stuff and it'll last about 20 minutes a hit. The first one's like a half hit they call the handshake.
Hmm.
And I did all 3 of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it progressively, the first one, I was like, oh shit, saw some lights and whatnot. And then that second one, I was being ushered down like a hallway, but being compressed on each side of me. And then I kind of floated off a little bit. And then that third one, I went to the other side. You don't exist anymore. You don't have thoughts, but you have thought. I don't. It's hard to explain, man.
What do you mean
Eh,
by the other side?
like the other side, like I was with God.
Wow.
I felt as though I was in a bubble of
Mhm.
complete pure love.
Hmm.
Other people have described it. It's some kind of space and time thing.
Mhm.
I was feeling. I don't know if anybody else. I haven't heard too many people on this one, but for me, it felt like I was feeling people that had passed kind of swishing by. Not,
Hmm.
and you don't have visions or anything. I didn't. Um, it's really weird, but yeah, you don't even know you're a human being. You don't have those kinds of thoughts. Like you're not like sitting there going, "Man, I'm high."
Yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and man, you come out of that, and it's it's like being reborn. Because they also consider it the death of your ego, and then being reborn into man. I'm going to tell you that. And for me, that brief second where I felt Jesus back in,
Mhm.
at Wickenburg,
Yeah.
that's what I felt for 20 minutes times a
Wow.
million.
Wow. How does how does that impact your relationship with him today? Do you feel him differently than, say, most people because of that experience?
I don't know, and I would not. I doubt that.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know, man. I know 100% that God, Jesus loves me.
Yeah, yes,
A
yes, he
million
does.
percent.
Yes, he
I'm not
does.
scared to die. I don't want to, and I'm glad I didn't take my own life because I simply could have pretty easily. It's something else, man.
Yeah,
Um, I had no purpose. I do now.
yeah.
Um,
That's beautiful, man.
like I said, the drain master, right?
Yeah.
I circled that drain for a couple, 3 years. I wasted a lot of time. So, now don't get me wrong, I'm not any kind of therapist or anything,
Mhm.
but if I could help one or however many people to where they're not circling that drain and wasting those times,
Yeah.
then I'm the drain master, yo.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Well,
Um,
PJ, let me say this real quick, man, because like this is what I want people to take away from episodes like this. Your background is badass. And the trauma you went through and then the career in the military, but hearing you talk and you found Christ and then you experienced that, that love, that bubble as you put it in Mexico. I want people to understand like God loves you.
yeah,
It
man.
may take some work, it may be going through hell to actually have a relationship with him, but he loves you. It doesn't matter what you've done, who you are, and I think that more people need to hear that because it's not the polished version of going to Bible college, becoming a preacher. That's not who we're talking about, folks. It's the everyday dude that has been through hell that served his country or whatever. And you know what? At the end of the day, God loves you, man. Like it doesn't matter what kind of shit you've done. And I want people to understand that.
Yeah. Um, my background probably doesn't matter shit, but it does.
Right.
And some
Right.
weird kind of, I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and I don't want it to sound like anything that it's not. But God intervened in my dealio for a reason.
Yeah, he did. You
Um, but
I was gonna say you have a gift though. You have a perspective that others don't. So you're gonna be able to reach people that are lost, not in a judgy way or a hit them over the head way, but you're just sharing your testimony alone
yeah,
is
man,
gonna reach people, dude. And that's what it is. That's what it's all about, man.
I never envisioned this in my wildest hallucinations, dude, of that
Right,
something like
right.
this would be me. Because this was
Yeah,
not me, man. Remember
yeah.
Jesus? Have you found Jesus? I didn't know he's lost, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And, I I don't take it lightly, but I also take it like, okay, well, if somebody wants to talk to me, then I'm all in, man, whatever. But
yeah,
I'm not gonna go and push what I think they should do on them, you know what I mean? And I don't have the education and all that. That's probably why I part of the reason I got where I'm at.
yeah,
I still see a therapist and all that. Okay. Let me say one thing. My PTSD is not gone.
yeah.
Okay. I can just deal with it now.
Right.
I've been given tools and some buddies.
Yeah.
And so, I was asking my therapist, man, because this has been about the last 3 years where this thing has really come around. Last year I wrote that book. And I kept asking him why. Why me?
Yeah.
Why did I get this opportunity when this cat and this guy and this guy, and I know this guy that killed himself and all this? Why? And I guess she got tired of me asking that and said, maybe it's not about you.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, what do you mean? She's like, what about the other people that haven't seen what you've seen?
Mhm.
Maybe you can tell them about what's there and maybe they can get in their own. Everybody's different. Everybody has their own experience.
Right.
And I'm here to tell you that God loves every one of us.
Amen.
And,
Amen.
and I'm not one for formal religion. I feel like I have a personal relationship with God, as far as like I said, man, I got bitch slapped by Jesus. And then I apparently wasn't getting the message and they did their follow up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but by like writing that book got me a bunch of closure from my own personal demons. What I hadn't counted on is other people finding help in that, finding help in my story. And I never wrote a book to get rich or anything like that. I paid more money to have it edited than I that I made. I sold over a couple hundred copies, but I've heard, I've gotten a lot of messages from people that said they found hope in this.
Nice.
They did. They thought they were the only one, and therefore they just had to suffer.
Mm.
And that's just not the case. Um,
You're very inspiring, man. I mean, you have got a wild testimony, and I commend you for having the courage not only write a book because it's forever, but to come on a podcast and share, and obviously you've done a lot of shows, but I mean, just to come out because folks, it ain't easy to get on here and share your deepest, darkest shit in your story, but it's therapeutic and it helps people, it inspires people.
yeah. And you know, this message doesn't cost anyone anything.
Right.
You know, I don't believe in coincidences any longer.
I don't either.
There's just no way. Let It Be and that chick's dad. Come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was or the guy with the pictures,
That's wild, dude. That's
and me
wild.
knowing what a jackass I am. And I've always, here's what my therapist also told me. She goes, you went into that cave and you faced your demons, but you didn't turn around and walk out. You spelunked your fucking way through to the other side. And I said, I guess is that why I feel so dirty?
That's
Yeah.
that's a good analogy.
I'm just a dude. I'm still the same guy that, you know, does this or that. Uh, it's just fun knowing I know we're not alone and
Mhm.
we're never going to be. I felt no fire and brimstone. If anyone was going to get punished, it should have been me.
Yeah.
When I went, and this was a direct thought, when I went to go to Mexico, I thought I was facing demons and pitchforks and shit,
Hmm.
but I got the exact opposite.
Yeah.
And all it takes really is somebody, if you're having a hard time, man, just ask for help.
Yeah. 100%, dude. 100%.
You know, I sit here and tell these great stories and whatnot, but really all it is can you help me?
Yeah. Yeah. And it takes more strength to ask for help than to stay quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. I was so weak for circling that drain.
Mhm. Well, and, just to your point, you mentioned hellfire and brimstone, and I want people to pay attention for a second. Hell was not created for humans, and God doesn't want you to go there, but he can't force you to love him and accept Christ in your heart. So, yes, there will be judgment when Christ returns, but hell was not designed for us. It's for Satan and his crew. So, yes, there is a eternal judgment and damnation if you don't accept Jesus, but, to your point, PJ, like, going and expecting it, I almost dove into that while you were talking. I didn't wanna ruin a beautiful moment by asking about, if there was any darkness, because I'm a, um I'm a type of person where, I love the Lord and, I've changed a lot, but I still, am always kinda looking over the other side.
Sure,
Like,
sure.
know your enemy.
Yeah,
Like, know your enemy, and this us being metalheads, I mean, shit, it's been in our face since we started listening to music,
exactly.
no, I'm real but your thing, dude, you're very easy to talk to, you have a great personality, and more people need to hear that, man. Like, the average everyday person out there that has church hurt or doesn't like God or whatever, man, like, "Oh, that's not for me, dude." They need to hear your story, man, they really do.
And that's why I'm still here.
Yeah, 100%, that's your like you said, dude, that's your purpose.
Don't quote scripture, but I did put a line of poetry in my book that when I was talking about a tower moment. Remember I said this tarot card?
Yeah, 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 that's right.
Okay, August of 2023, after I had left Mexico and everything, I was up in Portland. I was staying with my cousin. I was moving around, didn't know where I was gonna end up. And that house that I grew up in till 7 years old, I was like 5 miles away from it.
Hmm.
And so I talked to my therapist and I said, "I'm gonna go over there and check this out." And she goes, "Dude, this is your tower moment." And I'm like, "What's a tower?"
Yeah.
And it's a tarot card thing. It's the Tower of Babel. It gets broke. It
Oh, okay.
People falling out of it, whatnot. So I go over there, me and my dog, walk around the elementary school,
Yeah.
and then there's a car in the driveway. I went up and rang that doorbell. Told this guy that answered that I wasn't there to rob him or any other fucking thing you'd say. I said, he goes, "What are you here for then?" I said, "My therapist said this is my tower moment." And he goes, "I know what the tower moment is."
Damn.
But when I left there, I felt like I got hit in the head with a bat and kicked in the junk at the same time.
Wow.
And it was a total crumbling and humbling
Hmm.
where I could rebuild from.
Yeah.
And that's what I've done. And Jim Morrison from The
I
Doors,
love Jim Morrison.
okay, he took a line of poetry from William Blake from a
Mhm.
poetry book called The Marriage Between Heaven and Hell.
Yeah.
And Jim named The Doors off of this quote. And it goes like this: "Once the doors of perception are cleansed, one will see things as they truly are, infinite."
Yep.
And she sent me these things,
Nice.
and I knew it. I mean, I put in the Jim Morrison or the quote and everything, but because of that quote, I'd known since. What's funny is I've known that quote since I was in like 8th grade.
Wow.
And then it just came to me.
Huh.
So,
Favorite Door song? What's your favorite Door song?
LA Woman,
Oh, come on, dude.
LA Woman, man.
The Ghost song. Have you heard that one?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, but that was a poem
yeah.
they released after he was gone. I love that song, man.
I like LA Woman because
It's a good song. LA Woman's a good song, but
it's
I'm just
about
giving you
a woman or it's about LA. Either way you
yeah.
look at it.
I'm
So
I'm just I'm just giving you a hard time.
I know, man.
Well, I want to share some scripture because I do this in every
Please,
episode, and
please
I've
do.
got today's verse, which is Psalms, the book of Psalms, Old Testament, chapter 23, verse 6. Goodness and mercy will be with me all my life, and I will live in the Lord's house a long, long time. Dude, I'm telling you, we just mentioned coincidences. I use a Bible app, verse of the day, and most of the time when I read that verse on a podcast, it applies to the exact episode, and I don't see that coming. Like when I was reading your bio, I had a verse laid out, but I didn't try to find one to match your story. It's wild, dude. Like it's so cool how God works.
Yeah,
Well, PJ, as we're kind of coming to a head here, I want to ask you this question.
you bet.
If there is someone listening right now watching this episode and they're on the edge of giving up, what would you say to that person?
Say, don't give up. I would say when you're in that position, it's hard to see what comes of that. And all you see is the easy way. And I've been in that position too. But, I told my brother one time, no matter how dark the hole you're in, if you look hard enough, there's light up there. Asking for help will get you help. And then you can't even imagine the people that will come out of the woodwork to help you because God loves you and he sees that and he wants you to get help. And I'll say it this way, I'm not a Bible thumper. I'm not
Yeah.
that guy.
Right.
I think I've proved that.
Yeah.
But this is what I know now.
Hey, you're quoting Jim Morrison. We know you're not.
I like to
I was,
see naked
I was about,
Indians in the desert.
yeah. No, dude, and man, and there's a quote. I don't remember how it goes, but basically, God doesn't. What is it? God doesn't call the qualified; He calls, and I forgot the rest of it. But basically, you don't have to have this perfect background, this PhD in Bible and theology. I mean, the apostles were regular dudes, man. They were some brawlers and some fishermen. They weren't rolling around like, oh, I'm gonna go on this rock and quote a bunch of shit. I mean, they were just normal dudes, man. Like so that's what he wants. That's what he wants us to do. And what you're doing in this episode, and I said this before we started going tonight, you're making disciples, man. You're spreading the word of God, but we all have our own unique way to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, let's as we're closing out, dude. let people know where they can get your book and how can they get in touch with you.
Okay, you bet. So, my book's only on Amazon.
Okay.
The title is My Life Soundtrack: Memoirs of a Soul Searching for Peace. I used music and humor in my book, like I have here. You can get it a hard copy, paperback, and the electronic version on Amazon, or if you just look up PJ Wright on Amazon, you'll get my book. And if you do happen to buy my book, pass it on to somebody else, man.
Yeah.
You know that that could be the world to somebody else.
100%.
Uh, I'll throw my email out there. Well, I'm on Facebook, PJ Wright, and my email is PJ PAVE Pave like Pavlo
Nice.
at gmail.com. Um, Everyone's welcome. You know. Um, yeah,
I'll add the Amazon link, your email, and your Facebook and Instagram.
yeah. Put a
Don't
little
forget
picture of
Instagram.
my. If you
Um,
see the book on Amazon, it's actually a picture of me shooting a 50 cal off the tail.
yeah, that's pretty sweet. Hey, you mentioned earlier, you said they were retiring your aircraft. Do they not use Pablos anymore?
No, yeah. So they retired in 2008. The
No
CB-20,
shit.
yeah, the CB-22.
Oh, that makes sense. I didn't think about the Ospreys taking over. Dang,
We
dude.
all wanted. Here's what we all be happy if this would have happened, if they would given us the K model with the 3 engines,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then we would have been. But maintenance was so intensive on that helicopter that you know
I didn't know they retired them, man. Wow. Huh.
the last flights were in combat.
Okay, that makes sense why I don't see him at the beach anymore. I never put that together. Wow, dude. Okay. That's a bummer, man. Well, as I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have a little fun with you, man. I'll put you on the hot seat for a second
Yeah, man.
because we're both metalheads,
Yeah,
and I'm a little younger than you. Metallica or Pantera?
Metallica.
Oh, come on, bro. No way, no way. Pantera is the greatest metal band of all time. Yeah. And you know who's playing guitar for him right now?
Zach. Yeah,
I love Zach, dude.
yeah.
I love Zach. He is the man. If you guys are listening, go check out Zach Wild. He's the man. I like old Metallica, but I saw Pantera and Metallica in Nashville last May, and I was there for Pantera. Metallica put on a good show at the end, but a lot of their songs, dude, they were slow. We were sitting down, but
Yeah.
the newer stuff, the old, obviously the '80s is way better, the '80s stuff. But
I'll 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 jump in here. My favorite concert,
yeah,
1982, Tingley Coliseum in Albuquerque, Judas Priest, Screaming for Vengeance tour. And what I later found out, saw an clip on television, was that was Rob Halford's first sober gig, not doing
no
cocaine.
kidding. Wow,
Yeah,
that's incredible, man.
yeah,
Damn, you've been sober a long time.
yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm gonna close this out with a prayer, man.
You bet.
Unless you want, do you want to do it?
No, no.
Okay. All right. All right, man. Please bow. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for tonight and just bringing Brother PJ into my life. Thank you for the opportunity to share his powerful testimony, Lord, and just to shed some light on the darkness that so many of us have faced and still deal with. I just pray, Lord, that whoever's watching this episode right now will know that you love them, Lord, and that you are a God of love and mercy and kindness, and that you want us to follow you and to embrace you and open our hearts to you. We know that you love us and we know that you put us all here for a purpose. I just pray all the listeners and the viewers can take something away from tonight's episode. And I'm also grateful, Lord. I'm grateful to be able to have this platform to share testimonies, to shed light on men's mental health, and also to spread your gospel, Lord. Please bless PJ, cover him in your blood, Lord, protect him from the enemy. He is doing wonderful things and he is just inspiring to talk to, has a good heart, and I just pray he's able to keep reaching people out there that need to hear his testimony. And it's in your most holy name that I pray. Amen. Thanks for checking out the Peace, Power, and Purpose podcast. Be sure to check us out here on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcast. I drop new episodes every Wednesday and every Thursday. So smash that bell at the bottom and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. PJ, this was an awesome episode, man. I thank you so much for coming on tonight, dude.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get your book now, dude. I should have bought it earlier. I'm gonna get a copy and I'm gonna no way, dude. So you went on Mike's first, huh? I see how it is.
Yeah, I I did a, Zoom call with Kavanaugh, TCAV,
Nice. Yeah.
got me on with Mike, and then, I'm
Okay.
hoping through you,
Yeah.
and please, if you ever wanna have me on again about anything, with
Yeah,
other
totally, dude.
I mean, listen, I'm retired, I don't do shit.
Okay. Well, man, I will get you on some more, dude. I've met some awesome dudes,
Yeah,
just in the whole podcast circle, and yeah, I'll get you some gigs, and I will give you one piece of advice, and I had to learn this too. Get on Instagram, man. It is a networking tool.
yeah,
Like
I saw that, yeah,
social media, like I used to be anti, and I own a brick and mortar business. I'm like, man, I'm
yeah,
46. I don't want to do Instagram. Dude, it's amazing. Like I met you through Facebook, but it was through
yeah,
at the end of the day, Instagram. I mean, dude, I'm like meeting all kinds of people on Instagram.
okay.
But yeah, I'll come up with some guys to connect you. I know John Martinez hosts a show called the Good Leader Podcast. Former Army, law enforcement. He's awesome. I'll get you guys in touch. He'd be a good one to go on.
Cool.
You're in New Mexico, right?
No, I'm in, Mesa, Arizona, but
Arizona. Okay.
in 6 months, I'm moving to, Southern Oregon.
Okay. All right. John's in California, but yeah, I'll get you guys hooked up for sure, dude. And I've got some others I can hook you up with. But yeah, we'll
Right on,
get you
and I
on.
really enjoyed meeting you and your platform, man. I've been watching
Yeah.
you,
Thanks,
and
bro.
yeah, I like what you got going on, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. You were talking about God. He's the reason I'm here doing this thing, man. I started this podcast in July of 25, man. And he is opening doors and I'm just going right through them. And I'm all gas, no brakes, dude.
Tell you a little funny story. One of the hottest chicks in my high school class back in
Yeah.
'83. I mean, she never said more than 10 words to me, right? She saw my first podcast and all of a sudden was messaging me about this and that. And I'm like, yeah, all right now.
I see why you want to come on, dude. Oh man. Next time you come back on the show, you better have a Pantera shirt on, dude.
All right. I'll make you
um,
that promise.
all right, bro. Well, hey man, you stay in touch and I'm gonna do some networking for you and get you on some more shows, okay?
Right on. Is this going out tonight?
Yeah, yeah. As soon as we
Sorry it took so long, dude.
no, it was good, dude. This was a killer episode, man. Um, yeah. Will you take care and hang on here for just 1 second?